And a Fox News alert now. A majority of American voters blame former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and President Obama for what happened in the deadly terrorist attack at the U.S. consulate in Benghazi on September 11th back in 2012. Take a look at some of these numbers that we have up on the screen for you here. 60% of voters blame Hillary Clinton, according to this poll that came out yesterday from Fox News. That includes 28% who blame her a great deal and 32% who say that she deserves some blame. About the same number blame President Obama. This comes on the heels of a Senate report finding the Benghazi attack was indeed preventable. Utah Congressman Jason Chaffetz is a member of the Oversight and Government Reform Committee, and he joins me now. Congressman, good morning to you. Good to have you here on this Friday morning. Well, what do you think? What's your reaction to these numbers?
You know, it's heartening to know that I think America does care about this and they are paying attention, because by and large the national media does not cover this story. You couldn't read one of the major news magazines or one of the major regional newspapers and you read anything really about Benghazi. So I think it is heartening that a lot of people do pay attention. I think it should probably be closer to 100%, but we will continue to unveil the facts and provide the truth, and it's going to continue to take some time, but it shows that America cares and they're paying attention. Well,
it does show that, and you and some of your colleagues have been on this from day one, in particular you, having visited and been on the ground there shortly after the attack. Let's take a look at another poll here that is really in many ways more disheartening than the first. The reason that the Obama administration gave false information on September 2012's attack in Libya. 49% believe that it was to protect the president politically. 22% say they just made a mistake, and 19% say they are protecting America. I mean, that is a really dire indictment.
Getting to the heart of the motivation of why there were these lies that were perpetuated, these falsehoods that were continued to put out there, from the talking points to what Susan Rice said. One of the more stunning things to me, for instance, is that Hillary Clinton, months after the attack, came before Congress and said that security decisions were made by the personnel on the ground. That is absolutely not true. If you go back and look at the facts, on July 31st of 2012, we had about 30 security personnel, according to the Deputy Chief of Mission. And then by the time September 11th rolled around, we only had 9. And this was after our facility had already been bombed twice. The British ambassador had had an assassination attempt. The Red Cross had been bombed. And so America's paying attention. They look at this and they see that what the Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton herself, was saying months after the attack was still not true. And what the motivation is, you're going to have to guess, and we're going to have to unveil these facts.
Yeah. It's stunning to me, and when you look at these numbers that do substantiate that people think it was a political choice to leave these individuals at this consulate without the proper security. And then you go back to the Senate report, which said, yes, indeed, they believed that this could have been prevented if proper security or precautions, or perhaps pulling people out of there, as the British did, had taken place. That was certainly another option for them at the time. And I wonder what you think about the political ramifications of this, and whether or not you think this becomes a very serious issue for Hillary Clinton if she decides to run.
It is not going to go away. This happened on Hillary Clinton's watch. She had direct responsibility. It was Libya on 9/11, after a revolution. In many ways, she wants to claim ignorance, which, I mean, how can you claim ignorance that you're paying no attention to this? I have a hard time believing that she was never involved in any way, shape, or form. But if that's going to be her claim, that's going to be a whole other discussion point. But remember, we got 4 dead Americans. We got 4 people killed. And for the White House to continue to try to say that this is a quote-unquote phony scandal, that just doesn't ring true with America.
We were asking our viewers today, Bill O'Reilly is going to sit down with the president before the Super Bowl. And my guess, I would think that Benghazi will likely come up in some way, shape, or form. But the other night on his program, he was talking about the fact that, Hillary Clinton and the president both said they wanted to get to the bottom of it right away. They wanted to figure out what had happened. And then they took full responsibility for it. And he was saying, full responsibility for what? Please explain what it is you are taking full responsibility for. Because that would point to what you think were missteps and what you may have done wrong. And that question really has not been answered, has it?
Nobody was fired. No, everybody has gotten a promotion pretty much since this within the State Department. They testified that they had exactly the security they wanted, although they went from 30 security personnel after 2 bombings at the same facility down to 9. We have 4 dead Americans. You have a Senate Intelligence Committee led by a Democrat who's saying that this was entirely preventable.
And the fact that, pardon me for jumping in, but also the fact that there have been no arrests made. And, you know, it becomes almost a joke in some venues, you know, to talk about this. And the one thing I can't understand is why people wouldn't want to know why no one has been arrested and wouldn't want to know why these 4 Americans had to die. So, you know, it just raises some very basic questions here.
It took our FBI 18 days to get to the scene of the crime where this terrorism happened. 18 days. There's a reason for that. We believe, we've heard testimony that part of the reason is America lied to the Libyans, and the Libyan president was highly offended. My colleague Trey Gowdy, when we had a hearing, put up and talked about the memo that the State Department issued internally saying there was Ansar al-Sharia that committed this attack. We told the Libyans that, only to have Susan Rice go on Face the Nation, undercut the president of Libya, and basically call the Libyan president a liar. And so this all happens during Hillary Clinton's watch, and it's just
could have been handled very differently.
Capture and kill these people
from the very beginning.
Yes.
That's one thing I think we can be sure of at this point. Congressman, thank you very much. Always good to talk to you, sir. We'll see you soon.